Tonight carried with it a calmness that I had been craving all day. A quiet end note to the symphony of labor, noise, and movement that had consumed me from the moment I opened my eyes in the morning after finishing work. After shutting down the glowing computer screen and leaving behind the suffocating confines of the office, I wanted nothing more than a pocket of solitude, a place where I could hear my own thoughts without interruption. And so I found myself walking toward the city park, a small thermos of coffee in my hand, the familiar black bitterness promising both comfort and company. The streets leading to the park were still alive with activity, even though the sky had darkened. The neon lights from storefronts and restaurants spilled their colors across the pavement, bright reds, soft blues, glowing yellows, like paint bleeding across a canvas. Motorbikes darted past me in quick flashes of sound and speed, their engines humming like restless bees. Cars rolled steadily, headlights sweeping the road in steady arcs. The air carried the faint smell of grilled food from nearby vendors, mixing oddly with the faint exhaust fumes of passing traffic. My body, tired from the day, moved almost automatically, but my mind was already anticipating the peace I would soon find under the trees of the park. The park itself sat like a small island in the middle of the city's chaos, a patch of green framed by cement and glass. As I stepped through its iron gates, the atmosphere shifted noticeably, the sounds of traffic dulled slightly, replaced by the occasional rustle of leaves, the distant laughter of children still lingering in the playground area, and the faint chirp of night insects. The lampposts, tall and evenly spaced, bathed the walkways in soft yellow light. Shadows stretched long across the benches and flower beds. I walked slowly, savoring the transition from the frantic rhythm of the streets to the calmer heartbeat of this small refuge. I chose a bench near the fountain at the park's center, a place where I could sit with both the stillness of nature and the motion of the nearby road. The fountain's water rose and fell in a rhythmic pattern, droplets catching the lamplight as they scattered back into the pool. Behind me, the trees formed a gentle canopy, their branches swaying slightly in the evening breeze. In front of me, just beyond the fence, I could see the main avenue where cars and motorbikes continued their endless stream, headlights and taillights tracing glowing ribbons against the night. I unscrewed the lid of my thermos and poured the coffee into its small cup. The steam rose instantly, curling in the cool night air. The smell of roasted beans filled my senses, deep and familiar. I wrapped both hands around the cup, letting the warmth seep into my fingers, grounding me in this precise moment. Taking the first sip, I felt the bitterness spread across my tongue, strong yet soothing, awakening and relaxing at once. Sitting there, alone but not lonely, and I watched the world move. The traffic outside the park fascinated me in its endlessness. There was no pause, no complete stillness. Vehicles kept coming, headlights glowing, horns occasionally breaking the flow. I imagined the stories behind each rider or driver, the student rushing home after evening classes, the couple heading out for dinner, the worker finishing a late shift, the family driving together with children half asleep in the back seat, each of them part of the city's constant movement. While I, for this brief hour, sat apart, observing rather than participating, the park's benches were dotted with other figures. Though most sat in pairs or small groups, lovers whispered quietly to each other, their voices low and private. Friends laughed, their energy bright against the backdrop of the night. Parents guided small children away from the fountain, urging them home. Yet despite these presences, I felt cocooned in my own bubble of silence, the coffee in my hands marking the boundary between me and everything else. After a long working day, filled with deadlines, small frustrations, and the invisible weight of responsibilities, this solitude felt like medicine. I thought about the endless emails, the constant phone calls, the tension that lingered in my shoulders from sitting too long in one place. Work had consumed every ounce of my patience, leaving me drained. But here, in the park, with nothing demanded of me except to sit and breathe, I could feel the tightness unwinding slowly. Each sip of coffee felt like it was dissolving another layer of stress, leaving space for quiet reflection. The longer I sat, the more details I noticed. The way the lamplight reflected off the rippling surface of the fountain, the faint outline of clouds drifting lazily across the moonlit sky, the rustle of a paper bag as someone nearby unwrapped a late snack, the way a group of pigeons shuffled together near the flower beds, heads bobbing as they searched for crumbs. Even the breeze had a texture, carrying faint scents of wet grass, smoke from food stalls outside the park. and the unmistakable sharpness of gasoline from the road. I leaned back against the bench, letting the sounds and smells blend together into a single symphony of urban night. Life, I realized, was rarely quiet. Even in these moments of solitude, the world hummed with background music, but there was peace in observing it without needing to respond. Peace in being still while everything else moved. The coffee cooled gradually, and as I drank, I found myself sinking into memory. I remembered other nights when I had come to the same park. Some of those times, I was with friends, laughter bouncing between us as we shared stories. Other times, I was with someone I loved. Our conversations gentle and slow, our hands sometimes brushing together on the bench. Tonight was different. It was only me, but there was no ache in that fact. If anything, I appreciated the solitude more than ever. To sit alone, to not need to perform, to not need to respond. This was a kind of freedom. Traffic outside the park grew heavier as the night deepened. Rush hour may have ended, but the city never truly slept. Streams of motorbikes surged together in traffic lights, then scattered like sparks when the light turned green. Cars slid past smoothly, some blasting music from open windows, others silent and sealed like moving capsules. I found myself mesmerized by the rhythm of it all, the endless coming and going, the neon reflections gliding across shiny car roofs. It was almost like watching waves on the shore, each movement different, yet all part of the same ceaseless tide. The park lights flickered slightly, then steadied again. A couple walked past me, their steps in sync, their conversation soft. A cyclist rolled by slowly, the wheels crunching faintly against the gravel. Somewhere deeper in the park, a group of young people shouted and laughed, their energy echoing faintly through the trees. I let all of these sounds wash over me without clinging to any of them. My attention kept returning to the cup in my hands, to the gentle warmth that was now fading, to the dark surface of the coffee reflecting the glow of nearby lamps. I thought about the day I had just endured, the small triumphs, the small frustrations, the way everything had blurred into a single thread of effort. Workdays always felt longer than they truly were, stretching under the weight of expectations. Yet in hindsight, when I sat like this in the park, they seemed distant, almost unreal, as though all that existed now was this bench, this coffee, this night. The contrast between the chaos of the office and the serenity of the park was so stark that it felt almost like two separate worlds, and I was grateful to step from one into the other. My coffee was nearly finished now, only a thin layer left at the bottom of the cup. I tilted it slightly, watching the liquid swirl. The bitterness clung to my tongue, grounding me further in the present moment. I thought about how strange it was that such small rituals could carry such weight. A cup of coffee, a park bench, a quiet hour of watching traffic. None of it was grand or extraordinary, yet it shaped my entire experience of the evening. As I sat, I promised myself that I would hold on to this ritual more often, that I would not allow work to swallow every evening, that I would carve out time to sit, to breathe, to simply exist without demands. Life, after all, is not measured only in completed tasks or earned money. It is also measured in these quiet hours, in the steam of coffee rising against the night air, in the glow of city lights reflected in dark liquid, in the rhythm of traffic flowing endlessly beyond the fence. The city park, with its blend of calm and movement, of solitude and life, felt like the perfect mirror of existence itself. We are all like those vehicles on the road, moving, hurrying, carrying our private burdens. But every so often, it is necessary to step back, to sit on the bench, to watch, to drink coffee, and to remember that being alive is not only about motion. Sometimes it is about stillness too. And so, tonight, as the final sip of coffee warmed my throat and the stars began to peek more boldly through the thinning clouds, I allowed myself to feel content. The day had been long, the work heavy. But here in the park, under the yellow lamplight, with the traffic flowing endlessly like a river just beyond the fence, I found a kind of peace that no office, no achievement, no paycheck could ever quite give me. It was the peace of presence, of solitude, of simply sitting and watching as the world moved on.